I believe this is the woke ideology summarized. It's the essential pillar, the creed, if you will. And what I find fascinating is that many of the activists on Twitter do not know this will, but they instinctively have a feel for it and they advocate its principles. The people that know the will are the ones from academia, which are pushing it on students who are then spreading it on the internet. And there is truth to this wheel. Like, it's not a lie. The problem is that the woke ideology they believe that the strong should serve the weak. So in such a culture, the people with power become the slaves. So everyone is incentivized to pretend that they're not powerful. I know it sounds ridiculous, but think about it. If I ask you, like, what would you rather be, a noble or a peasant? Obviously, everyone would say a noble, but what if then I tell you that the time period is the communist revolution in Soviet Russia? You don't want to be a noble anymore, right? So it really depends on the ideology that's dominant. And in the woke ideology, you do not want to be viewed as being part of the central wheel. You want to be viewed as being marginalized because you get perks and privileges. So the other problem with the happy wheel is that the people who have this power are supposed to feel guilty because they have it. And in many cases, it makes absolutely no sense. Like, for example, having a disability, right? So a significant disability. It can happen to anyone. It can happen to me. It can happen to you. Anyone can partake in a car crash and obtain this significant disability. It's a horrible thing. And sometimes modern medicine can't help you. Like if you have a broken spine and you're in a wheelchair. Now, of course, society will try to accommodate people in wheelchairs as much as possible, like creating ramps, being nice to them, right? But there shouldn't be the idea of guilt. Like I should feel guilty that someone else is in a wheelchair and I'm not. Like that is not, unless I put him there, you know, like I shouldn't feel guilty about it. And this is what this ideology is trying to say. It's like, well, people who are able-bodied have a duty towards people with a disability, and I do not agree. Like, you have a duty if the person is in your family, if it's a person that, you know, helped you in the past, okay, fine, but like, if it's a random person on the street, I have no duty towards them, right? And they have no duty towards me. And then you notice that there's other things that have nothing to do with identity. Because, okay, in the case of race, right? You're born that way. You can't change it. And as you can see, they don't advocate for equality. They advocate for a reversal of power. But that's neither here nor there. I get the idea of inherent irreversible characteristics, right? Like, you're born that way, can't do anything about it. But, like, for example, language. Right? Like, of course, and you can see how American-centric this shit is. Right? Like, of course, if you're in the United States and you speak English, you're going to have an advantage. That doesn't necessarily, like, give you power. It's like, you do not go out to other people, it's like, I have power over you. Because they have a different understanding of power. It's basically like people who should be oppressed in their view. But if you're in the United States and you speak English, yes, you have an advantage. Just like if you're in India and you speak Hindi, or if you're in China and you speak Mandarin. Like, you're going to have an advantage if you speak the natural tongue. But, like, for the love of God, just fucking learn it. Like, I'm Romanian and I learned English. I know a little bit of German. I know a couple of words in Japanese. You know, like, you can learn the fucking language. Like, citizenship, undocumented. You get the fucking documentation. Why are you undocumented? Get the documentation. Get the documentation! Why do you not have the document? Where are the documents? It's like COVID. Where's the QR code? Where's the fucking QR code? You know, like these are things that can be changed, right? Like, it's not like some person is born that. Like, you're not born undocumented. Go to the government. Get the documents. Why do you not have the documents? If you don't, if you think you shouldn't have why are there documents to begin with? No documents at all. No more government. Huh? Oh, you don't want that. Okay, I see. Naruhodo. But yeah, so they're spreading it on like the most bizarre things, right? You get formal education. What I love about formal education is that most of the woke are the ones that are pushing the idea that being uneducated is bad. And by educated, they mean like going to a university, right? Like getting crippling student debt, becoming the grandmaster of lesbian dance therapy or whatever shit they're preaching. It's interesting because if you tell people, it's like, hey, maybe you should be a plumber. You know, like in the current economy, the artificial intelligence is on the rise. They're not going to replace plumbers anytime soon. Someone still needs to unclog the toilets. You're going to be able to make great money by being a plumber. No, that's bad. Why? And you'll notice what's even more interesting, that they have such disdain for the people that are uneducated. Like, for example, a truck driver can earn a lot of money, but if you have like a woke, educated lady, they're not going to look at the truck driver even if they make money. Like there was this picture a couple of days ago with a lady who went on a date with a farmer, and she was making fun of him because he gave her a big roll of cheese. And I look at the type of cheese that was. It was like over $1,000. It was like a big wheel of cheese, but like looking at the quality of the cheese, the type, it was like over $1,000 gift. But she doesn't understand, like she doesn't appreciate it. Why? Because he's not educated, right? Like if he was like an educated twat and drew her some fancy schmancy CalArts, all of a sudden she would have been like, oh my god, this is so cool. Neurodiversity, of course. Mental health. Like mostly stable. What does mostly stable even fucking mean? Like I went to med school. I never heard about like a mostly stable category. Like they keep inventing shit. I love like body size, right? Like large, because it's American centric, right? Like if you travel to certain countries in Africa where they have huge issues with starvation, you're not going to see like people who are skin and bones being considered sexy and attractive, right? Because people do not like the opposites. They do not like someone that's skin and bones, and they do not like someone that's morbidly obese. Like when we say large, especially on the American standard, which, by the way, very interesting that they treat the COVID very seriously, but the fatness epidemic, they don't even care. There's a reason why there's so many fat people in the United States compared to Europe, but they're not going to talk about that, right? So it's not like the body size that's only large that's the problem. That's an American thing. You go to other countries, you're going to see that being skin and bones is also considered bad. Housing, right? Like, again, just because I own property doesn't mean that I need to feel guilty that there are homeless people. Like, it's not my fault. I'm not the one that made them homeless. You know, sure, if I can, I try to help them out. If I see someone begging on the street, I try to, you know, I don't know if it helps by giving them money, but I do, because I think it's the right thing. But still, like, there's no guilt there. But, like, the people who believe in this ideology, they will actually, like, judge you for it. And what's interesting, this is very interesting, right? There used to be a point system based on, you know, like if you're white, if you're black, if you got a formal education, blah, 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 blah. And they removed the point system because they realized that a lot of cisgender, heteronormative, patriarchal men would score lower. I mean, they would be more marginalized than a black person. Because the black person, for example, would say that, well, he's able-bodied, he is heterosexual, right? He is neurotypical, he is slim, he's middle class, right? And someone that would be white, but he would be with some disability, maybe gay, maybe have like body size large and all of this thing, like he would score. So they got rid of the scale, right? Because they don't want objectivity to taint the beautiful ideology that they have. So take that as you will. Let me know what you guys think, and as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.